If this season of your fitness journey is feeling particularly discouraging for whatever reason, there's a lot of reasons why that might be happening, and we're going to talk about how to, one, figure out why that discouragement is coming up because I hate to break it to you, but it's probably not the last time that you're going to feel disappointed or lacking that fire and that spark. And because of that, I want to give you some tools that you can use to, again, find yourself again, find that spark, find that fire, the energy to be able to move you from, I don't like where I am right now and I'm disappointed by that and I want to get to where I want to be. How can I do that? We're going to talk about a few things that will help you, and I'll share that through a few different stories on my fitness journey on how I've navigated that, because there's like different types of discouragement I feel, because some of the discouragement is I feel like I've neglected my fitness in a way, and then I'm overwhelmed by I don't know where to start. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to work on. There's so much that I want to do. The gap between where I am right now and where I want to go is so big that I'm genuinely disappointed in myself. Like, how did I let myself get here? Like, that kind of discouragement. And then there's also discouragement where you feel like you're doing everything right. You're doing the workouts, you're eating healthy, you're journaling, you're doing the inner work, you're writing motivational quotes on your whiteboard, on your sticky notes, constantly trying to remind yourself that where you're going is the right direction, but you're disappointed that you're not seeing the fruits of your labors yet. And I've run into that multiple times, and I think a big part of how we move through this is through how we see this story unfold. And that comes with our mindset, that comes through our actions, and I'm going to again further elaborate and share that with you. But before we dive into it, welcome to the episode. This is the 1% Healthier podcast. My name is Megan Timpson. I'm a holistic personal trainer and nutrition coach, and I help women transform their health and fitness from the inside out. It is my passion to help people genuinely change their lives, and I know that a lot of that is not just through fitness and through like doing the workouts and eating healthy, but changing how you see yourself, changing how you show up in the world, and doing like work that genuinely fulfills you. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. Now let's get into how we can help you move through this season of discouragement. Where I want to start is, how do we find ourselves again? How do we find that spark? And how we find that is by being aware about where we are right now and what brought us to this point. And I narrowed it down to three main things that lead to this discouragement in our fitness journeys. One being burnout, two, lack of challenge, and three, unclear goals. And I want to talk about each of those and how that plays a role into how you might be feeling right now. Let's talk about burnout first. I was feeling this a couple weeks ago where, again, doing all the things that I know that I need to be doing, but disappointed that I'm not further along. And I know that a lot of this comes down to the mindset and managing expectations about our progress and how far we can go in the time that we've been putting in the work for. So I understand that. But also, a lot of that is seeing your journey as heavier than it needs to be. Because, to be honest, there's going to be times, if not the entire time, where you take 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step sideways, coming back to the center, moving forward again. And it's like you can do these steps like it's a great weight on your shoulders, like you're carrying this heavy backpack, or you can move through those steps like it's part of the dance. Forwards, backwards, side to side, like this is all a part of the journey. It doesn't have to be that heavy. And sometimes I just need to be reminded of that. But tactically, how I'm able to move through like being tired of the work that I'm putting in, like genuinely, like I cannot do the workout. Like I have no energy to push myself, no energy to finish the workout. I am lacking that drive and the fire of enjoying fitness, of enjoying pushing myself in the gym. I know that I have that, but right now it's like, where is that drive? I don't know her. I wish that I had that in my workouts right now, but I don't. And I would say that that's an annoying spot to be in, and I totally feel that if that's like the season of discouragement that you're in. But what I've found is that when we're reaching the ends of our limits where we have no energy, what's not going to help is trying to continuously pour from an empty cup. That's why you're not getting anything out of it, is that you're continuously trying to pour from empty. If you have this crazy massive schedule, you have absolutely zero energy, to do anything, we need to figure out how your movement can actually like add to your life rather than take away from your life. And sometimes I think that we forget that movement should like be giving us something. It's not always something to just like make us sweat and burn calories. Like this is actually a time for you. And if we forget about that, if we forget that like movement can actually like bring us so many health benefits, mental, physical, emotional, social. Like there's so much more to exercise than just like getting a good sweat or building your muscles or burning calories. Like when you know that. But sometimes we forget about that. It's not just about the workout, it's also about how you're taking care of your actual self. And what that looked like for me, again, recently was actually like taking a step back and like slowing down, as in, like, instead of like going to the gym to do a lot of high rocks workouts and like strength training or doing like a lot of running, I was actually doing a lot more walking, a lot more like low impact, like steady state cardio, because what I've learned actually like on my Garmin for like the past, I don't know, year, it's been showing me that I've got plenty of the anaerobic and aerobic fitness or high aerobic fitness, but I don't have enough of the low aerobic fitness, which is like taking your easy runs easy, like lower heart rate cardio, zone 2, if you're familiar with that. Like I was pushing my easy runs a little bit too hard to where like I was constantly like working a little bit harder than I should. And so I've been like working on addressing that and being like, okay, like I think that I actually need to like slow down a little bit and fill my cup so I'm not like continuously trying to pour from empty, and finding joy in that. Because then again, when I recharge my batteries, then I have so much more energy to do other things. Now, not saying like that I would like pull back from like doing all the workouts, all the things, but like just paying attention to like what I actually need. I genuinely like needed those slower days to be able to recharge, to be able to push myself further. And I think if you are super into fitness and like you work out like 6 days a week, 5-6 days a week, and you're in like this spot of fitness, which is really great, where it's like I need to work out, I love to work out, and it's like harder to miss a workout than it is to do the workout. If you're in that space, I think sometimes what you really need is permission to slow down, permission to value your rest days as much as you value your workout days, because rest days are actually part of the program for a reason. Sometimes you might forget that, but resting is where like the muscle is built. That is where your training, your body adapts to your training to actually make it worth something. If you're continuously like pushing yourself, stressing yourself out, then your nervous system can literally like not adapt and recover. Sometimes in your fitness, you genuinely need to pull back, slow down, remember why you're doing this in the first place. Now, another thing that I want to talk about here too is that one reason I feel like it's so hard to slow down is because we have this story in our head that if I slow down, I'm going to either lose my progress or I'm weak and I should just like keep pushing myself. When the reality is that's, again, just a story that you're telling yourself. But I want you to ask yourself, like, who told me that? Genuinely, who told me that if I were to take a rest day that I wouldn't make progress? Because that's something to like genuinely think about, is where did those beliefs even come from? Are they true? And I'm genuinely like trying to put some logic behind those thoughts, because again, if they're not helping you and they're not serving you, like where did they come from? And maybe just like letting them get out of your brain. But I just want this to also be a space for you to realize that your rest is equally important as the days that you push yourself, and you're not weak for taking a rest day. And I think anybody who tells you that you should just be on grind mode 100% all the time, always, without telling you to also rest, they're missing something. Elite athletes take rest days and they take them seriously, so you can too. The second reason that we might be running into discouragement is because of lack of challenge. This could be that we have been doing the same thing over and over again. Our fitness journey has gotten pretty stale, and it's not that you're like not going to work out anymore, but it's that you need to find a way of working out that actually makes you excited. And that could look like going and doing a tennis class. That could look like going and doing a sport that you like. That could do trying something new, whether it's like dancing, Zumba, ballet, or boxing. Like I really want to do boxing. I feel like that would make my fitness journey a little bit more exciting right now. So thinking about, okay, like where am I like feeling unchallenged? Because I'm not interested in living a life that is unchallenged, that is stagnant, that I'm not making progress. Like I want to make progress, and sometimes you just need to approach like cardio in a different way than just the treadmill or just the bike or just the elliptical, and switch it up, do something a little bit different and get similar adaptions, right? But you're just changing up the way that you approach it. So that's another one to think about. And then with lack of challenge as well is also like if you are strength training in the gym, asking yourself, am I really challenging myself here? Or am I just going through the motions? Am I picking up the same dumbbells every time I go to the gym? Have I tried to do more reps one week over another week? Have I tried to lift heavier? Like, have I even tried to do that? Like, being honest with yourself about the lack of effort that you're putting into your workouts. Because when I started going to the gym, I remember it was that season of life where we would just follow whatever Instagram workout leg day we found. Like, I'd just pull up to the gym, I'd scroll through Instagram, be like, okay, here's a leg day. Does that look cool? Okay, I'm going to do that as my leg day. And I would just like grab the weights that I had normally done. Like, if I know that I can do it with this dumbbell, last week I think I did it with this one, so I'm going to do it again. But not actually like focusing. One, I didn't have like an actual program to follow. And two, just going with whatever weight felt good, what I thought that I could do, but never actually like pushing myself. Flash forward a little bit, I joined an app that was like full body strength days. And I remember for the first time in my life doing like a set of 5 for 5 reps and like building up weight. And I was like, I've never like done that before. I usually do like 3 sets of 10, and that's like all I've ever done. And I remember absolutely blowing my mind that I could do so much more weight than I thought that I could. It's just that I never tried. And I was like, now this is exciting. This is going to keep me coming back in the gym because now I know that I can lift way heavier. I wonder what other lifts I could get heavier in. I wonder what other movements I'm stronger in than I thought. And that alone, I remember going back and telling my mom, she was like, asked me how like the gym was, and I remember being like, I hip thrusted like 200 something pounds or whatever it was, and like being so excited about it. And I don't normally like talk about how the gym went, but I was so excited about the fact that I had made progress in something that I didn't know that I could. So that, I feel like, is another thing that really can like burst the bubble of discouragement, is like actually being aware of like how you're actually pushing yourself in the gym. Because if you're just going through the motions there and you're doing the same things, same weights, granted, if you're following a program and that's what you're doing, great. Again, using discernment here if this is for you or not for you. But genuinely, I think that most of us could push ourselves a little bit more than we think. And every time I've been pushed by a coach in a track workout, in a group workout class, I'm always surprised that I can do a lot more than I think. And I know that applies to you too. The third one is unclear goals, which is important because if we don't know where we're going, then it's no wonder that we're just kind of floating around and being like, there's no real drive to go anywhere because we don't know where we're going. Now, does that mean that you need to be setting like a ton of different like physical goals? No. Like, you could have a season of fitness where your goal is just to enjoy it. Like, that would be something that would, I'm sure, switch it up for you. But another thing to think about when it comes to like your fitness goals is like, where do you actually want to improve your fitness? Because when I think about fitness is a skill, fitness is a capability. Like, you're fit for a cause, you're fit for something. What do you want to be fit for? Do you want to be fit for like life in general? Do you want to be fit for your sport? Do you want to be trying a new sport? Like, what is it that we actually are wanting to work towards and build strength in? Because then again, it makes it a lot easier for you to have a clearer path to walk down, and it doesn't become so overwhelming because like the path is so wide, it actually becomes quite narrow and it becomes exciting to walk. I want to share with you an example too of when I had unclear goals. When I had moved to Arizona last year, in December I had my first High Rocks, but after that High Rocks I was like, what am I like doing with my life, with my health? I had gotten to a point where I'd done a lot of inner work, like healing my relationship with food, really working on that. But then I was at a point where I was like, I don't really recognize myself. Like, I feel like a lot of uncomfortable feelings about where I'm at with my fitness. I don't like what I see in the mirror. I feel very fluffy and pudgy and just like not great. And I was like, what do I do? Where do I go from here? Because like I'm going to the gym every day and I just knew that something had to change. One of the biggest things that I internalized in that season of life of just being like, blah, something has got to change and I don't know what to work towards is I chose in this season of my life, I genuinely want to work on my performance. I genuinely want to get better and improve my health. Not because I want to lose weight and that is my only goal. Sure, like I would like to actually like look better. I want to feel better about my body. Yes, but I know based on like all the internal work that I've done, I need to actually like work on a goal that is about my health, that is about something bigger than my body. Because again, like when we think about fitness being a skill, our health being the value of our life, like what we're actually able to do because of it, then it's like, why would I ever just set a goal that is just about getting a number on the scale down or like fitting into my clothes and that's all that matters to me? What's interesting is that when I really sat with myself, I decided my goal is going to be working on my speed, on getting ready for high rocks, getting strong for my sport. And I did end up hiring like a high rock specific coach just because, again, I want to be a student of the game. I want to learn. I want to get better. I want to genuinely improve. And it was one of the best things that I could have done for myself because I learned how to take care of myself. I learned how to train for performance. And it's just been such a fun journey, just like over this past year of training for high rocks and preparing for high rocks, because when I think back to January or December when I signed up for the race in New York of June of 2025, I remember being so scared, like, oh my gosh, like I cannot even imagine doing a solo high rocks race by myself. Like when I did it with my friend in December, we did mixed doubles and I wanted to die. Like I was so bad at the running, and to now I've done 4 or 5 high rockses and I'm like, it's not who am I to say like that's not that big of a deal? It is hard. It like really is hard, and I wish that I was better. See, again, like I just want to get better and I wish that I was better, faster, stronger. But going back to that point where I was like, oh my gosh, something's got to change. It was that mindset shift of I'm going to improve my health. I want to change my life. I want to change the way that I approach my fitness, approach my nutrition. I knew from the work that I've done that I had worked on my relationship with food. I wasn't seeing food as this negative thing anymore, but I was ready to use food as fuel for my workouts and prioritize my nutrition and support my body and nourish my fitness goals. I was ready for that because I was like, I was done, for lack of a better example, like done just eating sweets just because I could. Like I'm ready for like a push in the right direction. And I still eat sweets, so don't think that all of a sudden I don't eat sweets. But I remember it was that switch in my brain where I was like, I have something to train for now. It's not unclear to me where I want to go. I know where I want to go. I know who I want to be. I know what I need to work on. And having a program laid out for me, all I had to do was show up, which again was one of my favorite things about working with a coach and having a personal trainer is the thinking is taken out of it. Like, show up and do this workout. And I would do it. And it was, again, something that continuously helped me to see the progress. It was helping me find that purpose again. The lack of challenge, there was my challenge every single day, and it became really fun. And I want that for everybody, to be able to be like, you know what, I am pivoting myself to work in this direction. And that's why I really encourage you to think about your goals and where you're going. If you're discouraged right now and you're like, what am I even doing here? I don't like where I'm at. I'm ready for a change. Pick something that you want to work towards. Pick a direction that you want to go in, and then once you pick the direction that you want to go in, what you need to focus on now is your system that is going to get you there. Because something I'm very passionate about with my coaching and something I will teach every single one of my clients is, yes, we want to raise our standards. We want to raise our goals. We want to raise our ceiling for what is possible for us. Again, talking about those examples of figuring out that you can lift heavier, that you can run faster, that you can do more than you think. But also, in order to get your goals, to close that gap from where you are to where you want to be, is also raising your floor, raising like the minimum things, the daily habits that you have. Like what is in place every single day to make success inevitable for you, and raising the floor so that you have more good days and less bad days, right? You have more days where you're moving forward rather than days where you're falling back. That's something to think about too when you're trying to get out of discouragement, is like, what is my goal that I'm working towards and what is my bare minimum? What am I going to do no matter what? Like if my goal is to read 10 pages every single day or read 20 minutes a day, my bare minimum is that I read one paragraph. Because guess what I'm teaching myself is that no matter how exhausted or tired I am, I have to read one paragraph. Literally, it does not matter what mental state I'm in, I am reading a paragraph because I am showing my brain, no matter how I feel, no matter what went on that day, I keep the promises that I made to myself. I do something over nothing. I am giving myself permission to be consistently good so that I can have opportunities to be occasionally great. So think about, what is your bare minimum? What is it set up in place? What is that system to help you get to where you want to go? Because again, you should be aiming for high goals and doing things that push you out of your comfort zone, but support yourself by also closing the gap from the bottom. Like you got to raise the floor a little bit as much as you're raising the ceiling. So I want you to keep that in mind. Set clear goals, have systems in place, have bare minimums in place. Not just like a big checklist of things, of like the things that you would aim to do, but it would probably be worth your time to think about the things that on a bare minimum, I'm doing this no matter what. Now that we've talked about what leads to being discouraged, I want to share with you another important lesson that we need to learn in this season, is that asking ourselves, what can we learn? I share about this all the time because we need to be students of our own journey, students of our own life, students of our own fitness, and a big part of that is asking yourself, how does this season contribute to my character development? What am I learning in this season? Maybe something you're learning along your journey right now is patience. Patience that the work that you put in today is going to give you results. You might not see that right away, but that's totally fine. That is literally the journey. The day that you plant the seed is not the day that you eat the fruit, and you're learning to be okay with that. You're learning that the joy is becoming a gardener, to take care of my field, to take care of the things that I've been given, because I know that I'm going to have a harvest one day. I know that the work that I'm putting in is paying off. I might not see how it's going to pay off, but I know that it will, and trusting that. Another lesson that you might be learning right now is learning to not be a victim, learning to take responsibility for the actions that got you here and responsibility for the ones that are going to get you out. It's not going to be easy to change. It's going to push you out of your comfort zone, but a good, healthy relationship with fitness is going to challenge you to get out of your comfort zone. You might be learning right now not to complain, because if your goal was to eat, then you can't cry about having a lot on your plate. And that might be the lesson that you're learning right now, is if you want more out of your life, you're going to be required to do more with your life. And sometimes we just need to manage our expectations a little bit better of what we want and what is required to get there, and not complaining about that, not being negative about that, and learning to just take what we can and do what we can with what we've got. And we don't have to do everything all right away. Again, it's bite by bite, but if there's a lot on your plate right now, it's okay. Like, you're going to figure out how to eat it all. You're going to figure out how to navigate it all. And it comes with this practice. That might be a lesson that you're learning in this season. Another lesson you might be learning right now is that flowers aren't meant to bloom year-round. That your fitness, that your approach to fitness can be seasonal, can be cyclical. You can change up your goals. You can have seasons of your life where you're just focused on having fun with your fitness, where it's not about going for a PR all the time, but about enjoying that, which might look like more workouts with your family, more walks with your family. That might look like going and playing tennis with your friends, pickleball, going to Pilates. You know, you might be switching it up and realizing that fitness is for my whole life, this is a lifestyle. I am in no rush to get anywhere, but to enjoy today. And if that season of your life is to just like pour into yourself, water your little seeds that you're planting, and then move on to like a next goal, or maybe like what you want to work on right now is your strength, or maybe it's going to be building your endurance. Maybe you want to work on both at the same time a little bit, or you want to really focus on one over the other, so that way moving into like a sport season or a race season or whatever your next goal is, that you're very well equipped and prepared for that season. Really good takeaway is learning that you do not have to be one version of you forever. Like, you can adapt and change and grow with this season. To wrap up this episode, let's think about how we can actually apply this in your life. If you are feeling discouraged right now, again, figure out, one, what got me here? Is it because I'm doing too much? Am I burning out? Am I pouring from an empty cup? If that's what got me here, then what you can ask yourself is, how can I prioritize my actual health right now? Like, what would actually be healthy for me? What would genuinely move the needle forward? Sometimes that looks like taking a step back, because sometimes our goals can be so close to our face. Like, if we're like standing up against a wall, all we can see is 2 inches in front of us. When if we could just take a step back, we would be like, oh my gosh, there's so much to this wall. And instead of trying to throw myself through the wall, I might see that there's a door 2 feet next to me that I can walk through the door, instead of like trying to, again, continuously like push myself through a wall that I don't even need to like do that. I don't need to approach it like that. So again, if what has gotten you to this point is like you feel like you're doing too much, or you're doing too much of the wrong things, you're burning out, ask yourself, what does it look like for me to prioritize myself, my actual health? What would pour into my cup? Maybe that has nothing to do with fitness, because another thing about a healthy relationship with fitness is it will challenge you to find meaning in your life outside of exercise. If fitness is the only thing that provides meaning in your life, then that's a little bit unbalanced. That's a lot of it unbalanced. And so maybe in this season, you need to add more life to your life rather than more fitness to your life. Crazy advice coming from a personal trainer, but that's advice for a specific few of you, and you'll know if that's meant for you if it hits. How else can we apply this? If we feel like we are lacking challenge, being honest about, okay, what can I do that will change things up in a way that supports my goals? Do I need to push myself harder in the gym? Do I need to lift heavier? Have I ever tried to lift heavier weights than I'm used to? What does that look like? What does that feel like? Or maybe I need to try like a different class. Maybe I work out by myself all the time. I need to go and work out maybe I need to go work out with friends. Maybe I need to make my fitness and my health more social. I know that that's something that really helps me get out of ruts, is by going to like gym classes and run clubs, because then I'm reminded that, oh, it's not that deep, it's not that lonely, it's actually, this can be fun. Another way that we can apply this to our lives is if we have unclear goals, I want you to take from your brain everything that you're feeling discouraged about and write it down. Put it out of your brain, put it onto paper, and just be able to see, like, where is it getting muddy and clustered? Am I saying that I want to be strong when my actions show otherwise? Like, where is the disconnect happening? And then I want you to be clear about what is the goal, what is the thing that I actually want to work on. Because when that becomes a thing, then it becomes very clear about what are your next steps, right? When you ask yourself, what story do I want to tell from here? I often think about that as well, is if I am the hero of my story, then the story that I want to tell about myself is that I overcame discouragement, that I pushed through, that I didn't give up. And if I don't give up, then how am I going to do that? What am I going to push myself towards? How am I going to grow from this, right? How is this season contributing to my character development? Thinking about that. So give yourself a clear focus. The new year is coming up where we can make new vision boards. Last year I put on my vision board High Rocks, and I freaking crushed it, and I'm so excited about doing that, and I wonder what I'm going to put on next year's vision board. But I want to remind you that your goals do not need a calendar to be worked on. They need your time and attention today. They don't need a new year, they just need a Wednesday. They don't need a new year, they just need a Sunday of refocus. Yes, you can go at them with excitement in the new year. I know that I do. I love having a new year, but I do not let myself be like, okay, in the new year, I'm going to work on it. It's like, today, how can I build momentum to build into that new year, which is where 1% healthier comes in, right? We're building this foundation for ourselves so that way when the new year comes, it's just another day, because consistency is not built off of a calendar. It's not based off of a calendar. It's based off today. You don't need a new year. You just need a Wednesday, right? You just need another 24 hours, and that 24 hours could be today. So get excited about the new year, but do not wait until the new year is the message that I want to share with you on that. Another word of encouragement to help you apply this is sometimes the story that we tell ourselves when we're discouraged is that it's always like this. Like, why am I not getting to where I want to go? Why do I keep messing up? And it might feel like you have a lot of evidence for that. Like, I have a lot of evidence that every time I set a goal to work out 5 times a week, I barely make it to the gym once. You might have weeks and weeks and months of that as evidence, but I want you to remind yourself right now that just because you have a lot of evidence for that, that does not mean that you can't find evidence for the opposite or for something else. To give you an example, if your kid is learning to walk and they get up and they fall and they get up and they fall, then you could say that they have a lot of evidence that they can't walk. But you would also look at it as like, that's a lot of evidence that they keep trying and they keep trying and keep trying, and it's not a negative experience for them. They're actually growing and developing. So whatever the story is that you're telling yourself that tends to feel negative or heavy, I want you to ask yourself, how can I see this story a little bit differently? What evidence can I start to look for? Because just because I have a lot of evidence that something hasn't worked doesn't mean that I won't find evidence that it will. Because maybe I don't need to try harder that certain way. Maybe I just need to try a different way. Wherever you're at on your fitness journey and whatever is contributing to this discouragement that you feel, whether you're going through a really big life transition right now, or you feel like you're in a season of where things just need to change. Like, you either need to take your health more seriously, you need to speed things up, or you need to slow things down. Whatever it may be, I want you to trust what you're feeling about what you need to do. Maybe you really need to push harder. Maybe you really need to pull back. Maybe you need to challenge yourself in a different way. I want you to really lean into that this week. And I want to leave you with this quote that says, don't run faster than you have strength, but make sure you break a sweat. And I feel like that's a really great way that you can balance the push and pull of navigating wanting to do so much, be so much, work on yourself so much, but there's so much to do, and it's like, how am I all gonna fit everything into my schedule with my career, with my family, with my life, and my other passions and my hobbies? How am I gonna fit health and fitness in there? You're gonna find a way, because dogs always find a way, and I know you're a dog, so I trust that you're gonna figure this out. And of course, if you need help on your journey and you want support and you want someone to give you feedback and figure out, why are things working? Why aren't things working? How can I change my habits? How can I make my habits stick? How can I make myself enjoy the journey so I look forward to going to the grocery store? I look forward to going to the gym, where health and fitness becomes easy and a fun part of your life and it's not a chore anymore. If that's like the level of transformation that you're after, not only just to obviously increase your fitness, increase your health, and become a better version of you, whatever that looks like for you, but you're wanting to do that deeper work and truly change your life from the inside out, we would be a perfect fit to work together. If you're looking for a coach for nutrition and strength training, whatever it may be, you can inquire. I'll have the link to apply to work with me below, and we can chat more about that. But another thing too, if you like the message of 1% healthier and you genuinely want to get better, you want to be able to push yourself, you want to be able to also find balance and moving forward in a sustainable way, but also in a way that builds you momentum, you will love my 1% Better letter. It's my weekly newsletter where I share one thing that you can do every week to be 1% healthier to help you build momentum on your health and fitness journey. So with that, I hope that you remember that this discouragement is just for a season. You're going to move through it. I've moved through it. We've all made it through 100% of our bad days, 100% of our discouraging seasons. We're going to make it through, and we're going to continuously get better because we're the people that are carrying us through, us and God, we're making it through, and we're going to make the changes that we need to make. And I just want you to know that too. Like, if you're putting in the work, the results will come, because results don't lie. Humans do. I heard that the other day and I was like, yeah, that's true. If we're not getting the outputs that we want, then we need to change the inputs that we want, and it can really be that simple. So again, thank you for listening to this episode. If you're enjoying the podcast, please subscribe on YouTube and follow on Spotify and Apple, and leave a 5-star rating and review. That helps this podcast grow. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.